Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. It gives you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. Creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast so it sounds great. They'll even distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can easily make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of It Is What It Is podcast. I'm your host, Cody Kelly. I actually said my name correct this time, unlike the episode I just did where I kind of gaffed on that. Listening to this, it has been amazing. You guys have been just so just overwhelming, even just shocking me with some of the views. I appreciate it. So I brought back an amazing person, right? Because she's been just phenomenal. I wanted her back on the show. So we have none other than Brittany Campbell herself. She is just amazing, and we're going to cover fitness. I know the summer is basically over. By the time you hear this, the summer probably will be over, and you probably already missed your goals. But we're going to get into it. But before we do that, you got to stay connected. So you know how you stay connected. You got to do two things. You got to connect with me on Instagram at CVMK33. And your call to action is what? Subscribe to the YouTube page at CV Space K, where you can see all amazing content. You can connect with myself and my hoarse voice, and you can see all my cool videos and interviews that I do. And some of my workouts not as cool as Brittany's, but I'm trying. I wore the polo today with the sleeves out just to show some of my cephalic veins, because she's not the only one with arms. I've been hitting the gym, so I just wanted to show I've tried. I think I can curl now 20 pounds on a dumbbell. I'm moving up in life. So with that being said, Brittany, how are you doing?
Quite amazing. I wore this linen blazer today because you were suited and booted last time. So I was like, I'm going to cover it up and put on the blazer. And so here I am. I'm doing amazing. It just started to rain here in Texas. We've gotten a lot of rain this year, which I appreciate. My grass appreciates. But I'm feeling good.
Appreciate it. It's good to hear. Look, you are, however you want to label it, competitor, influencer, trainer. You check the boxes, right? For us mere mortals, some of us got to the summertime and got a little relaxed. I think is the best way to say it. I did okay. I think I did okay. I'm not as, in transparency moment, I'm not as disciplined as I was last year, but my strides have been further because I didn't really break. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could just break process and whatnot. I tweaked my processes. I made sure this year I focused more on diet than necessarily training, where last year it was I think I was just training excessively. Yeah. So this year it was more diet, actually understanding what I'm putting into my body, actually calculating my grams of protein, grams of carbs, actually having, scale amount, and I wanted to, as I age, I always want to add something new. Right. Yeah. But for a lot of people, in truth, summer's kind of a bummer. It quite didn't get there. Quite didn't get there. So for those individuals out there, right, that say, screw it, we're gonna try this next year, next spring, what will you tell that person who is literally, hey, look, I didn't get there again. I'd rather just go out drinking. I'd rather just live my life, because it seems like it's a goal that keeps moving away further and further. What would you tell them?
So there's a quote that says, people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. So I think we kind of get into this race where we feel like we got to get it done. We got to get it done now. But we have no regard for the compound interest of just developing good habits over time. And so a lot of people, like I'll use myself as an example. I've been into fitness for years. None of this is just like, it wasn't an overnight thing. It was years of practicing the discipline, creating the habits. So I think if you've made any small strides forward, you've got to show yourself grace, be proud of the small strides that you made, and then allow the compound interest of those good habits to build over time and let them develop. And I always tell people, just have grace for yourself. It's all good. If you fell off, try again.
I like that. Have grace for yourself.
Yeah.
That you would think, as a preacher like I am, like that would be easier, like that would have came to my mind. But sometimes I just don't. Sometimes it just doesn't. I just didn't think of that. And the reason is because, like, I think for whatever reason, there is this image that I always have to, or that everybody I think in their mind has to ascribe to, right? There's this unrealistic just goal, and you're like, how do I look more like The Rock, right? Like how can I, place myself in this position? And I think your quote is amazing. And instead of the compound kind of outlook onto it over time and seeing the gradual buildup, we have a very reduced space.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is because unfortunately society doesn't give us the runway to have that type of long-term compound interest.
Okay.
So when you're working with your clients, right? And they're like, Brittany, you've been amazing. You've mentored, you've coached me through. But when we first, started the training sessions, I said I wanted to lose 100 pounds in 3 months. I'm only down 50 pounds in 3 months. Yeah. What is that like next conversation? Like, how do you get them to see, like, do you see what you've done?
Yeah, the conversation kind of goes like that. So one thing, I used to do this, especially early on when I first started training clients, is I was going to take the photos and I wouldn't hold back. I will pull up your original photos from when I met you to today. So you feel like today is such a bad day. You've been off the wagon, but look at where you started 6 months ago, 8 months ago. And that normally changes the atmosphere in the room. But, I'm really big on encouraging people, again, like having the grace for yourself, and also with having a balance of, this is my goal, but can we not celebrate where we are right now? Like, don't let the goal of the future that may or may not ever happen rob you of your opportunity to be happy and to celebrate yourself right now, where you are, as you stand. Today is important, and that's what matters. And if you made a single step forward, then you have a reason to celebrate.
I said you have a reason to celebrate.
Yeah.
I think you have to appreciate. I think you have to be comfortable being you. So like I've been saying this, I've been saying this, like I told my wife, I told my friends, I said, man, the older I get, I realize like I'm grown. You know what I'm saying? Like, like when you realize how grown you are, you like, wait a minute. I'm not doing that. You realize like I'm comfortable with me at this present time and at this stage. Yeah. And I'm really not moved by this, right? Like, when for you that confidence, because as much as we might think that it's everyone possesses it, they might not.
Yeah.
I've said it. I think I've shared it with you. I don't think I became secure. And there's confidence and then the security, right? I think those are two different things. I didn't become secure being who I am till about 5 years ago. 5-6 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And the older I get, that security increases, not because I think more highly of myself, but because I realize I have nothing to prove to anybody. Right.
Yeah.
Where did you find, Brittany, that confidence, that security, that like if nobody calls me for my birthday, I'm still good?
I will not forget this. This was a turning point for me. I was at my first national show. This was summer 2014. Prior to going to the national show where I had the opportunity to turn pro, I had only gotten first place overall figure champion at every amateur show I did. So I fly to Chicago. I want to turn pro. I get on a national stage and I'm not in the first call out. I got seventh. And I remember being on stage and like, I couldn't breathe. I was like, did she not call my name? Like, what's going on? And 3 weeks later, I tried again. I went to another show. I feel like I looked better in Chicago when I got seventh, but I won at the second one 3 weeks later. Mm-hmm. And that was so liberating for me. That was the last time that I was going to let someone's opinion dictate how I felt about myself. Because what happened after that? 5 Olympia qualifications, 5 Arnold Classic, won the New York Pro. Like all these amazing things happened, but I had to come back from someone's opinion, I guess is what you would call the judging panel, not being what I wanted. And it was liberating for me. So I got freed when I didn't win a show. And I appreciated that experience because then I was free to just create the physique I wanted. And I would go into shows and people still ask me about this. Like, Brittany, how are you so cool even when you get this place? And I've been first place, dead last, everywhere in between. And I love myself every day of the week.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it for approval. Someone else's opinion of me doesn't dictate how I feel about myself. My pride comes from the work that I put in and what I represent, the integrity that I maintain throughout my prep and in my life. And so, I'm unshakable. And I'm kind of like you. It's like the older I get, the more that confidence grows. And it's untouchable at this point. But for me, the impetus for that came on the brink of a very disappointing placement in a show.
Sure.
After that, I was free. And I said, well, either they can pick me or they don't pick me. But I got back to winning, and it's all been good since then.
I like that. After that, I was free. That's the impetus. Let's talk about this. So I saw a post you put up, and she said, you were like, I'm not gonna sacrifice my integrity for
Never.
it, right? And I was like, man, that is so good because I think we live in a society where, and it's not a judging thing, but it is something that has to be acknowledged where, as long as you get it done, anything goes, right? Like, so for you, you're in this sport. What does that sacrifice? Like, I'll share. So like as a as a leader in business, I guess I could call myself that without, disclosing information, right?
Okay.
Or as a preacher, right? Like, I'll do that. There's ways to be elevated that to me goes against the grain. Ways to seek attention and acknowledgement that I'm just not down for. I'm comfortable in my own skin, and I don't want to feel like I have to lessen who I am to be really valued and appreciated, right? I think earlier, especially in my professional career, like, I wouldn't call it a selling out per se, but I will say I tried to dumb down who I was and what I presented, right? The value. So for you, like integrity, what specifically are you referring to? And then what really is the temptation of such?
The temptation is easy. I mean, you put in work for something, you want to be rewarded for it.
Right.
You want to be in a competition. Everybody wants to get first place. Everybody that shows up wants to win. Some people are willing to do things that others are not. For me, when it comes to my integrity, what I'm referring to is, first, I represent myself. I represent my family. And I always hold with me the responsibility that I have to younger women looking up to me. What I present to them matters to me. That's why I've been so transparent and I'm honest, because the message that I convey to them matters. Like how you were saying, you saw somebody, he said his weight and you were like, I don't believe it. Mm. You're not going to get that from me. And that was important. So I never would do anything that I wouldn't be comfortable letting my mama know, letting my pastor know, and all my followers know. If keep it a secret, it wasn't for me to do, because I find that after secrets comes shame, and then comes silence. And then once you're silent, you're not giving your gift away. And so I didn't do anything that took that away from me and caused me to be silent. The temptation, of course, is always there, because everybody wants to win. And so that over time, I had to develop my own definition of what winning was. And for me, it was not showing up and getting first place. It was putting in the work, being proud of who I was when I saw myself in the mirror, keeping my integrity intact. If I show up like that, I won before the show even started. Whatever place they decide to give me, it's nice. I like trophies. I got a room full of them. I don't even have places to put them. But what matters to me is what I walk away with, and I define what the winning is for myself.
I like that. Hey, first of all, hats off to you. I like that because I think you're right. I think if you don't, eventually the lie will find you out, right? Like if you keep on, like something I've been doing, I show my work. Like I even show when I fail. Like I miss lifts, especially when I get above 300 pounds. I miss lifts. I'm not always strong, and especially on a fasted workout, I've missed. And I show myself failing. I've showed myself work out with a slingshot. I've showed the assist, so I don't want you to think like I'm just like He-Man, because obviously I'm not, right? But you've been able to, if anybody follows me, to really see how transparent I am in the process. And something I do is I don't pretend to be where I'm not. Like I think there are other fitness leaders that I wouldn't consider myself a fitness leader by any standard of the word, but I think they're really, really far advanced. I like to say this, I might not be a Lamborghini, right? But I think I'm a Hyundai. I'm reliable. I got a 4-door safety passes test. I got airbags on both sides. I got, what I'm saying? Like you got to be honest with yourself. I don't know why. And just in the process, because I think what it does is that when there is honesty and there is transparency, there's safety, right? If I mislead somebody and they're thinking something else, they'll be harmed by what I do or do not share. Right. So I try to be transparent and everything. Hopefully it works, but you get to see me, right? You get to see the rawness of that. I do want to switch gears a little bit, and maybe not switch gears. Okay. So I watched the video but I love these two. I won't mention their name because I just don't like negativity. People like, I don't do that crap. So, but I follow these guys, really, really influential, really, really just like, and like every brother I know, like, these two are the names of like, I follow them too. So they put out a video really on how long it takes. Right. And I go here and then I'm going to throw you a curveball because, it's my show and this is what we do on my show and it is what it is. Okay. But they said how, they were like, look, we were recording videos, back in, 2004, 2005, and nobody was watching. Right. And he's like, so now, that we're monetized and we have the clothing and then the sports supplements. He's like, now you see it. He's like, but it took us so long to even get to this point. Will you just put everybody at ease and say, look, no more 30-day plans, no more 60 days to a six-pack, no more BET hip-hop abs.
It's easy come, easy go. Like anything that you're going to build that fast or gain that fast, you'll lose it just as fast. So I say rather than focus on these short-term goals, just focus on the overall picture of who you really want to be. I eat like this because I want to live a healthy life. Right. I exercise because I want to be strong and continue to build strength and have the ability to operate day to day. I think when you focus on that, it kind of helps. So you're not micromanaging the thing like, I need 6 packs right now. No, just focus on being healthier, making better habits for yourself. And then you'll look down one day and have it. That's kind of how it works. So, and I like in the example that you gave, that's how it worked. They were just out having fun. And then they look back and they were like, whoa, now we're monetized. Now we have this. Now we got 1 million followers. That didn't happen overnight for any Instagram influencer. So.
No, that makes sense. Start with your 1.5 pack, Vela, make it official 2, then make it a 2.5.
Right where you are, be proud of it, share the experience where you are, and people gravitate to that transparency and that honesty.
That's it. So we're going to shift. We are going to put the hands, because I haven't done this, and I trust Brittany. I know she's not going to lead us down the wrong path.
Okay.
I can't do this with all my guests because I don't know what the heck they'd ask me, and then I'd be like, hey, she is going to lead this discussion. Brittany Campbell will be the official host for the next at least 10 minutes. Okay. And it'll be Brittany's show. Whatever Brittany wants to ask, we're here because we're going to tear it up. This is what we do on It Is What It Is. If you was expecting a whole segment about that, come on now. I gave you 20 minutes. The next 10 to 15 or 12, if Brittany let me have 2 extra minutes, it's in Brittany's hands. So with that being said, host Brittany.
Yes.
What's on your mind?
Oh, what's on my mind is, I had this conversation in class today, eating less meat. That's on my mind right now. And loving yourself is on my mind right now. It's really important to me that people do. What I find is even when it comes to fitness though, right? If you love yourself, you'll treat yourself better. You'll want to eat healthier. You'll want to take those Epsom salt baths and get massages if you love yourself. So don't say, I'll love myself and be happy with myself when I lose 50 pounds, when this. Love yourself where you are as you are, and you will naturally treat yourself better and be happy with the result that you get. So that's on my mind. Eating less meat, loving yourself, and self-care. I'm all about it. Big time. Those are hot topics for me.
So let's flush it out. So we'll do with loving yourself, and then we'll go to eating less meat, and then self-care.
Okay.
So loving yourself. So I think you're absolutely right. Everybody's experience has, fortunately and unfortunately, generated a perception of who they are in this world. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, it is not always positive. Depending on who hurt you and how. You might internalize that and therefore lessen your own value based off of a negative experience. Mm-hmm. It's not only common, I would argue and say it's natural to not love yourself because you truly don't understand who and whose you are.
That's good. I promise you, I just had this conversation with a friend today.
Yeah.
You're on it. Yeah. 100%.
I'm trying. I've been taking all the TD Jake stuff. So let me see how far I go with this. Let me see how far. So I think the question is, what is my purpose here? And then the why behind your own creation and design.
Yeah.
And for me, the value, and I talked about being grown, is because of my spirituality, because of my faith in Christ. And I'm not talking about just in a religion. I'm talking about just going to church on Sunday, shouting, dance, speaking tongues. I'm talking about I know he loves me, right? And because of that, there's just certain things that don't shake me anymore, So I have an intrinsic value placed on by the Creator. The extrinsic value is because even when life has presented hellacious situations, I still have an opportunity to make the next day better.
There you go.
And I think it's the constant fight and motivation that every individual needs to really keep progressing forward. And if we be honest, the truth of your destiny will not come out in big flashes. It will be incremental. It will be a step-by-step process. It will be vague and vaguer, but the further you keep walking, the clearer the vision becomes, right? So I think we have to institute this idea that, first of all, you know, and when I say this, like, people, well, what if I'm running out of time? The reality is none of us know how long we have.
Nope.
You know, so no matter how old you are, if you 50, you could live another 50 years. If you're 30, you know, like, don't allow youth to create this arrogance, you know. So you have to keep pressing forward in the grace that God has given you. And I think when you do and you align those two things, you can start loving yourself because you'll start healing from within first, right? And I think the healing aspect is the most important thing. And the reality is, it's easier to walk around impaired. It's easier to walk around broken because you can be functionally broken than actually take time to heal. And it is okay to heal. Let's talk about the no meat.
Less.
Oh, less meat. Yeah, less meat. So it was just crazy because I got a thing of salmon right across me. So I don't eat like red meat. I don't eat like a cow. I'm not like now that I'm against it. I just don't do it. Now I do eat meat, all types of fish, all, you know, flounder, sea bass, salmon, tuna, you know, low cal, high protein.
Me too.
It tastes good.
Okay.
It tastes good. I cannot allow Finding Dory and all their relatives and friends taste amazing. And I don't mean to, you know, but I'm just saying that fish is an amazing food.
It is.
I think there's benefit to a more plant-based lifestyle.
Okay.
Science has proven that. It's even evident within the scriptures, particularly within the book of Genesis. So I'm all for plant.
In Genesis.
It is Genesis 1:29. I'll tell you where you're at. So I am so for plant-based lifestyle. But like anything, it's going to take a process to get there. And there will be lapse. Yes. There will be times like when the holidays come around, I don't even have to taste it. I just want to smell barbecue. I want to smell what it, you know, I just want it in my nostrils. You know, so I get the less meat. Now self-care.
Oh, there though. Yeah. I think less is a good place for everybody to head in that direction.
Exactly. Yeah. Self-care. And this is where probably I don't have any. No, let me rephrase that. This is something I've been working on.
Good.
I think every human, especially every adult that is working hard, that is trying to provide a better life for their family, their partners, their spouse, you know, whoever, their church, their community, will neglect themselves in order for other people to succeed to some extent, to some degree. If you continue without taking time to reflect and to process and to really actively engage in realizing self needs and love, the danger is you will feel like nobody cares enough to pour into you. Mm-hmm. And you can't expect people who receive from you to pour into you the same amount that you poured into them. Mm-hmm. Even when you pour, there's a thing called gravity. There's a thing called evaporation. The same amount of energy or liquid or whatever, just upon scientific method, would not equal when it is poured back, right? So therefore it is terrible to believe that just because I poured into you, you will take the same time and care to pour the same amount into me. Yeah. Therefore, all pourers, right, have to find themselves under a larger picture. And this is where it starts to get kind of confusing, because do we take the time to ask for help. And, now in my life, when I hit that point where I just know like I'm in danger, like my psyche's in danger, right? I take the time to ask for help. And I don't see it as a weakness. I'd rather be healthy here than to be, destructive and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I am.
What are you studying? What are you going for?
So I'm back in school. I got my bachelor's in business management after high school. I think I graduated college in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back in school now for real estate. They have a real estate program here that I wanted to take. One thing some people do not know is that I was in real estate investment while I was in the Army. So prior to bodybuilding, I was a real estate investor and a landlord with 1, 2, 3. Well, I had a unit with 4 properties, and then I had the house that I live in now. I also used to flip houses. I had a partner. We used to flip houses together. And so I dedicated so much of the last 8 years to bodybuilding that my passion for real estate kind of took a back seat. But now I'm picking it back up, and I'm really excited about it. Not just for me, but also to have the opportunity to help people kind of realize that piece of the American dream. And if I can bridge the gap between people and home ownership and generational wealth building, I'm super glad that I get to do it. And so I'm back in school for that now. I'll be taking my licensing exam in January. So I'll be out practicing early next year.
You are a titan. Hey, I'm sitting here just, I'm like, man, I almost feel dumb. No, I just like, golly.
Yeah.
He said, I was in real estate investing.
I got into it. I bought my first property at 25. Wow. And then I started building from there. And it just so happened the way life brought us together. I was in a relationship at the time with a guy who was already doing it. So I started, when we just did it and we had fun together. But then I started leaning more toward bodybuilding and committed myself to that for the better part of the last 8 years. But now kind of getting back into other things that I've been passionate about, but have been lying dormant in lieu of my bodybuilding career. So to be able to pick it back up, and I'm 35 and I'm excited about it. And I look forward to going to class every day. And I'm going to class like in a classroom, like a kid again. And so I made a post. I was like, first day of school, like I'm excited about it. And that encourages people, like, whatever you want to go for it. Like if you got today, make a step forward and let's go. But I'm super excited about it. And this summer semester will be wrapping up here pretty soon.
Well, look, you are on fire. I need to get my tail back into school after I got it's crazy, another 80s baby, right? After I got my master's, I just I hit a wall. Like that was so I probably I shouldn't have taken the time off. Like I postponed law school. I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this right now, but now I've got to the point like I'm ready to, dive back in,
do it,
become president of the United States. Like I said, I was going to do when I was 10 years old, even though Barack beat me, but I feel like I got a shot, so, so we will see.
Don't sleep on these passions. Like I think people take for granted they get, a vision or a passion to do something. Yeah. Don't sleep on that. Don't die with the potential of it. Like go for it, realize it now and share it with people. And so
I appreciate my guest because she has given us this time to connect. Absolutely amazing. Y'all connect with Brittany. Amazing again. We were talking about there's certain gifts, there's certain people that they shine their light. They don't allow, darkness or anything to taint it. She is one of those individuals. And I always say, it's free to follow, right? Like it costs you nothing. And if you want to keep seeing amazing influencers and amazing leaders like yourself, you got to do two things. You got to connect with me on Instagram at CVMK33, on my YouTube page at CV Space K. Brittany, where can the people connect with you?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook at Go Figure Brittany. Instagram is my favorite platform. So at Go Figure Brittany, Brittany. On Instagram, I do have a YouTube also, but once again, Instagram is my favorite. Hit me up on there. If you have questions, inquiries, or anything like that, it's gofigurebrittany@gmail.com. Hit me up. I will respond.
Perfect. Y'all hit her up. She will respond. Connect with her. Get inspired by her. Support her. And as always, thank you for tuning in to another episode of It Is What It Is. Hey, what's up, everybody? You like what you saw? Were you entertained? Were you informed? We want to keep seeing amazing content. Subscribe at the link below. YouTube, CV Space K. You connect where all podcasts are streaming. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor. Connect with me. I want to connect with you. Let's enjoy the ride.